Something profound happens at a very early stage in our lives. One day we look into a mirror and we realize that the person looking back is actually us. And even though we may not realize it, it is in this very moment where we acquire a problem unique to human beings. The wish to know if others see us as we see ourselves. It's a wish that is beyond fulfilling because just as how others can't know what's in our heads, we can't know exactly what's in theirs. We can only rely on what they tell us. This, as we know, can be very far from the complete truth because we ourselves lie at times. So herein steps the shrewd fashion industry. It says to us, "Hey you, we know your problem. You want to be understood. You want people to see you as you see yourself. Here's as a guide that we can all agree on. These are what such and such a person wears. Wear such and such too, and people will see you like that person." By now, you might have already come to a conclusion about fashion. It is doomed to fail. We will never be able to use it to control how others see us. We cannot even use it to control how we see ourselves. So what then? Is fashion to be forgotten? Well, it depends on how you use it. Look at the models. Isn't there something unique about them? They don't exactly conform to any ideal, but there's something whole about them. Fashion can serve a different purpose. It can connect us to our story. He kept the pair of old blue jeans in a trunk under his bed. Some of the guys stashed smokes or magazines in their trunks, but Private Jason Lerner only needed the jeans. When he put on his uniform, he fit into a larger picture. He was one of a united front, a piece in a game of many players. He liked the clean lines and the stiff fabric, as well as the meaning attached to the uniform. He felt like a better version of himself in that getup. The bravest, strongest, and most focused version he could be. Inside the creaseless jacket and under the black service cap stood Private Jason Lerner, the man his father was most proud of. When he came back to his bed, he opened the trunk and pulled out the jeans. They held a meaning of a different kind. He ran his thumb over the worn belt loop, where his grandfather's leather belt had rubbed the blue of the denim clean off before falling apart itself. He smoothed down the frays in the knee where he'd torn them climbing onto the tractor on his family's farm. Finally, he circled his finger thoughtfully around the single patch on the back left pocket that read, "Carrie." He pictured her soft brown hair and the little freckles on her nose. He remembered how they danced in their blue jeans on her dad's back porch. The cicadas had screeched in the heat, and his heart had beat faster than he's known it could. In those ripped jeans had stood Jason Lerner, the boy Carrie loved. He folded them up carefully and placed them back in the trunk. When he got home, he could wear them again. For now, they reminded him of the man he had been. A man who wasn't always brave or strong, like he'd had to become in recent years. Whereas the perfectly tailored uniform fit him into a bigger picture, the jeans fit only him. They showed his life in every stain and tear, and they were imperfect in every way. Jason placed his service cap on top of the blue jeans and closed the lid. Harvest, a collection of poetry, art, and stories. I planned on going through my clothes and donating items I didn't wear anymore. It was a simple idea in theory, but not in reality. As I pulled each piece from the recesses of my closet, I remembered why I'd kept them. Before I knew it, my room was filled with piles of colors and patterns and fabrics. Reds and blues, plaids and polka dots, cottons and silks. I felt panicked when I thought about trying to divide them into piles to keep or give away. It's strange how each of these strewn about pieces of fabric had come to mean something to me. The first thing I picked up was a tiny white t-shirt with a London bus on it. My childhood friend had given it to me when she moved away to England. We had cried the day she had to leave, knowing nothing would be the same anymore. We were right. I hadn't seen her in over a decade. Other than pictures, it was all I had left to remind me of her. It was the last physical reminder that she had existed in my life so long ago and meant so much to me. It was worn and thin, so I rationalized no one would want it anyway. Next was a plaid dress I'd worn to my grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary. That day was one of the last memories I had of them. My grandma's memory was slipping away from her, and my grandpa wanted to celebrate all of their memories from a long and happy marriage. My grandfather gave me money to buy a dress for their special day. I picked this one. It had little pleats in the skirt, a square neck, a black belt, and a scratchy fabric that kept me warm in the winter. It would never fit me now. I was 6, the one and only time I'd worn it. I imagined I could give it to my own child one day. I could remember my grandparents' marriage every time I saw her in it. Again, I decided I couldn't give it away. At the end of my sorting, I did have 2 piles: keep and donate. The funny thing was that the donate pile was actually full of newer, nicer clothes. I knew people would be happy to have them. The pile I was keeping contained my history, including a worn tourist t-shirt and a child's dress. I had to keep them. They might not be fashionable or perfect, but they were mine. Each item was more than color, pattern, or fabric. They were something from my past I could physically hold on to. They were my memories.